What is up, my aesthetic boys? It's Fresh, back with another video. Today we have a nice long storytime episode of Choosing Beggars, and let me just say, please don't take advantage of people's goodwill. Choosing Beggar tries to have me activate my stolen phone she claims she bought off of a friend. So this was some time ago, but I had a really nice, expensive phone at the time, top of the line Samsung. When I was younger and touchscreens started to become popular, I wanted to stay on the bleeding edge of technology. I forgot my phone on my buddy's stoop outside her apartment, ran back in a panic to find it gone, damn it all. So I got a replacement through insurance, received a call about a week later, somehow they'd gotten my number. The lady calling me says she bought my stolen phone from someone and asks me to activate it for her. She couldn't activate it as it was under my account and marked as stolen. For all I knew, she's the one that stole it. I, like a normal person, said hell no. She then went on to literally whine at me like a child about how she'd paid so much for the phone and demand I activate it. This time, I told her that maybe she should be more careful about buying things secondhand next time. She huffed and hung up. I gave the cops the number she called from and never heard anything about it. I buy cheap phones nowadays. I see stories like this a lot both online and on the subreddit. I think it's astoundingly common for people to steal others' phones and then ask for them to activate it or ask for money to have it back. Don't do that. Don't steal from people. You want me to pay for a plumber to fix the toilet my daughter clogged in your house before you asked us to leave? Not gonna happen, but I demand you pay my entire family's hotel bill plus food for a month. I have no idea what's going on in this title. Let's just read the story. I had my wife's sister, her husband, and 2 teenage daughters over in my home while they did renovations on their house. We were initially gonna have them over for a month. We accommodated my nieces in one room in the 2nd floor and my in-laws in another one in the attic. We told them they could feel at home, fix whatever they wanted to eat, get anything from the fridge, gave them a set of keys, and tried to make them feel welcome. The only thing we asked them was to respect our privacy and not come into our room because that's the only part of the house that's off limits to them since it's my and my wife's private space. That was our only rule, to not get on each other's faces and have a bit of intimacy while living under the same roof. We told them they could use the bathroom in the 2nd floor because it's the only bathroom in the house besides our ensuite bathroom, which is just for my wife and I, and to use that one you'd have to walk into our room. So that bathroom is for us only because it's in our room, and there's no reason for them to use it since there's another perfectly okay bathroom for them 4 to share. Things went wrong from the first day, but we let it go for the sake of not being neck breathers and making them feel unwelcomed. My in-laws would be smoking indoors when I have asthma, and we asked them to smoke outside. They'd leave food and milk out of the fridge. My eldest niece proceeded to clip her toenails over the coffee table. They'd be sitting on the white couch with shoes on, etc. Oh, and they kept leaving their dirty clothes outside the door at night as if this was a hotel. So we let go of all that. It didn't seem they're the kind of people who are very clean. Anyway, for the sake of family and getting along, we tried to overlook those things. The problem came with the bathroom use. For some reason, they decided they didn't want to use the guest bathroom, which is perfectly fine, and we can't really understand why they had a thing against it. So they started using our bathroom, even after asking them to respect our bedroom and not use our bathroom. When confronted about it, they vehemently and passionately denied having used our bathroom and played the offended card, saying they'd never disrespect us after we explicitly asked them to use their own bathroom. Even after we told them during the first night their daughter came into our room late in the AM hours, turning on the lights, asking us up just to use our toilet. You can't deny that happened. The rest of the week, we knew they were using our toilet again, but we tried to be the bigger person and let it go. Our bathroom is directly above the living room, so we'd see one of them get up, go upstairs, and 10 minutes later we'd hear our toilet flush and they'd come downstairs. There's no denying they were using our toilet. Not only that, but they were leaving floaty surprises for us to find. This happened time and again from all of them. They didn't even bother flipping the toilet seat. That's sick on so many levels. So after a week, my 17 years old niece calls me over and says my toilet is clogged and to check it out. I go check it out and see 2 pads blocking the loo. I called her over, give her a plastic bag, and tell her to pull the pads out. She starts screaming bloody murder, uncle is abusing me, he's forcing me to touch the toilet, and her parents come over. My niece starts gagging and runs to the other toilet, finally, to vomit, followed by her sister. Then my brother and sister-in-law turn against me and start asking me what is wrong with me. How can I do this to their daughter and what kind of monster I am? I'm smothering them. How can I accuse their daughter of blocking my toilet? At that point, I lost it. I told them I know they've been using my toilet and they're pigs for not flushing, and asking if they have a scat fetish or some psychological problem that justifies a whole family not flushing after using the bathroom and using a toilet they were told not to use. So I kicked them out. Not only have they turned all that side of the family against us, not that any of them have offered them their house to spend the rest of the month, but after I called him yesterday and asked him to pay the plumbing bill for his daughter clogging the toilet, he had the nerve to ask me to pay his entire family's hotel bill plus food expenses for the entire remainder of the time they have to be in the hotel, since it's my fault I kicked them out and they didn't count with this happening and have no money to pay for a hotel and food for 4 people. Wow, the sense of entitlement. But that's not the worst part. The whole family is supporting them in that they have no money and it's my duty to pay their hotel bill if I'm not having them in my house. My wife has already decided to cut contact with her family after all these years. This is the last straw. We have worked hard to earn a decent living and they see this as us having to financially support them, which has caused a lot of trouble throughout our marriage because they put pressure on my wife to send them money and we wouldn't budge, which they blame on me manipulating and controlling her. So, in their mind, because we both work and are middle class, it means we're loaded and also greedy for not sharing. So on top of having to pay for the plumbing bill, they expect us to pay their hotel bill and food for a month. The sense of entitlement, the level of detaching from reality they have is astonishing. Alright, so the title's a mouthful and honestly super confusing, but the story does speak for itself. That's actually insane. Now, obviously the story fits just as nicely in Entitled Parents as it does in Choosing Beggars, but the whole family is entitled and choosing beggars here. The fact that the whole side of the family thinks that these 2 people need to be paying for their hotel stay? What the hell kind of family is this? I just don't understand. Roommate hasn't paid rent in 4 months, complains the house is not clean enough and the food we provide is cheap. My husband and I own a 3-bedroom house. We don't need all the space, so we rent out one of the rooms in our home. We charge a base fee for rent and then split utilities and food 3 ways. We buy all the groceries and it gets tacked on to rent each month. This was easier for all parties as we would generally just cook meals together and didn't want to worry about who bought what. It worked for us for 5 years with no issues with 2 different renters. Current roommate, CB, has lived with us for 2.5 years. He's my husband's best friend and has known him for 10 years. He was even the best man at our wedding last year. All around, he's a stand-up guy, or so we thought. Lately, we've lost a lot of respect for him and unfortunately might be ending our relationship. CB lost his job in December. He works in the trades and the project he was on wrapped up. Nothing unexpected. When the project was close to done, he should have been prepping for the layoff, but didn't. He told us not to worry. He was going to take December off and start looking for a new position in January. Said that not a lot of places hire right before the holiday. He also made sure to mention that rent wouldn't be an issue as he had enough to cover up to the end of January. We always charged him rent at the end of the month because when he moved in, he had some debt to pay off and it helped him by delaying the rent 30 days, and really, it didn't make much difference to us. Well, end of December comes around and he doesn't have the money. My husband and I discuss it and we decide we'll float him for a month or 2 until he gets back on his feet. He's a good friend of ours and everyone could use a little help when they fall in hard times. Although I was a little annoyed that he said he had the money for rent saved and then didn't. End of January comes around and he still has no job. and no rent. Because we split the cost of groceries, we are effectively paying for him to live with us for free and providing free meals. I'm getting more frustrated as each day goes by and he doesn't have a job, but I also understand that it can be hard if you are applying and not getting a call back. I discuss with my husband and he says we should give him more time. Now, to add to all of this, I'm currently 34 weeks pregnant. We didn't need a renter to pay our bills, but we thought it would help us if we could collect rent from someone and aggressively pay down our debt to pay for our wedding last year and anything remaining before the baby comes. However, my pregnancy has been a terrible one, and I have been off work intermittently for the last 8 months due to mobility and pain issues. As a result, my pay has been sporadic and much lower than what I normally collect, which would have been fine because our renter gave us the breathing room we needed in the event something happened. Except, we're not getting rent. In January, I was put on 3 weeks bed rest, meaning 3 weeks of reduced pay, which I couldn't receive for over a month as I had to wait for the short-term disability to be approved. So we're living off just my husband's paycheck, and he's supporting me and CB since he is not contributing to the bills. I ended up going back to work in February, but then had to take another 5 days off due to medical issues. This was all unpaid as I had no sick days left, and it was too short a time frame to get disability. My doctor has now put me on early maternity leave even though I'm not due for another 6 weeks. I'm feeling better now that I have time to take care of myself and my baby, but I've been told it can take 6 to 8 weeks before I start receiving maternity pay. So again, we are surviving off just my husband's pay, which we can live off of, by the way, but it just means we have to be very tight with what we spend our money on. As a result, we've cut our grocery bill from $800 a month to $250 a month with the intention of eating a lot of rice, beans, potatoes, etc. And we get some meat from my uncle's farm for free whenever he's in town. Back to choosing beggar. In February, I started calling around to family to see if they knew of anyone hiring. My aunt actually knew of 2 positions open that Choosing Beggar could apply for. One was within her company, which she said was a guaranteed hire as long as he mentioned her name, and one with my cousin's employer who would guarantee an interview since it was a referral. I gave both to CB with hopes he would start working. He didn't end up applying to either of them. We had a few friends over at the beginning of March, and CB was talking to them and they were discussing his unemployment. He mentioned that it was hard on him because he had applied at 20 places and only got 2 callbacks. I hear this and all I can think of is, you've only applied to 20 places and you've been out of work since December? Last week was the last straw for me. On Tuesday, he asked me what we wanted to have for dinner. I said I would like fried rice, it's cheap, quick, and easy to make. He then starts making comments about how he's tired of eating fried rice. I offer potatoes and frozen vegetables, and he said it was too bland. This went on for a few minutes until I end the conversation saying we cannot afford anything better, so he can pick one of my suggestions or get his own food. My mobility issues from my pregnancy are so bad I can't clean our house. I can't even get dressed in the morning without my husband's help because I can't bend over and I also can't lift my legs. I also have developed severe carpal tunnel in both my hands, so I have trouble gripping things. Pregnancy is so great, guys. So my husband has been doing his best to keep the house clean, most notably the kitchen. Since Choosing Beggar is home all day, he makes a fair amount of dishes that get left around. Originally, we had the arrangement that he would cook dinner and we would clean the kitchen, but now that he's not working, it piles up a lot faster than my husband can keep up with. So there are days where we have no clean dishes or there's no counter space to cook on. Last week, CB made a comment to me while I was in the kitchen that he was annoyed we never had clean dishes anymore, but he didn't make any offer to clean the dishes. Instead, he pulled out a paper plate that we use for barbecues and used that instead. Later that day, when he went to cook something for dinner, he made a comment that there was no room to cook since the kitchen was such a mess. Again, instead of cleaning it, he moved the dirty dishes off of the stove and onto the table, then proceeded to cook. He had a job interview last week. I asked him how it went after he got home and he said, "It went well. I like the place enough that I might even take the job if they offered me minimum wage." And the first thought through my mind was, have you been turning down jobs that are only offering minimum wage? Our minimum wage is $15 an hour. All throughout this, my husband and I have offered to pay his phone bill. He can't get an interview without a phone. We have had to buy a battery for his truck when his died so he could go to an interview, and we've lent him our car for interviews when he ran out of gas in his vehicle. I am livid at how this turned out. We thought we were being good people by helping out a friend who was down on his luck, and all he does is sit at home all day and make comments about how we are not providing enough. My husband and I are going to be serving him with an official eviction notice at the end of the month. We didn't want to because we know he has nowhere to go, no family to move in with, and no money to go anywhere else. It just sucks because he was a good friend for a long time, and I don't think the friendship can recover from this. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Cheese is barely vegetarian, the reason we have one less at game nights now. Boy, what is up with these wild titles? Sorry, again, we'll go to the story. I'm a board game hosting sort. I like to have people over for game nights, and I normally make a day of it because it takes a while to prepare. It's not like I'm rolling in it by any means, but I don't mind spending money for providing for my get-togethers. I normally get a case of beer, case of ciders, new handle of whiskey, soda, ingredients for food, or quick fix frozen food. I like to provide a hassle-free time for my friends. No need to pay me back or bring anything, just come over and have fun. The night's on me. No one has ever had an issue with my hosting except Bud. Bud is my brother's friend. We often get into tiffs because he can be a dick. Bud decided one day to let me know, "You really need to stop buying this crap," as he shakes a shiner at me. "Get Ziegenbach instead." Ziegen's more expensive for smaller cases, so if you want to bring it, then do it, but enjoy the free beer. Any normal person would make that the end, but not Bud. He has to let me know, it's not that much more expensive. It's because of him my invites included a list of what I'll provide, so there would be no surprises, and a final caption saying, "If you want something else, by all means, bring it." But like I said, no one had an issue with what I had provided but Bud. That is when I should have stopped inviting him, but my brother wanted him there, and I honestly was fine with putting up with him for my brother, but last night was it for me. I normally go all out with cooking, but was feeling lazy. Spent all day cleaning, and decided I was just going to get a large pepperoni and large cheese pizza from the freezer section. Even sent out a warning text of, "It's just frozen pizzas tonight, fellas, cheese and pepperoni." Everyone said cool, except Bud. He never responded. He showed up and asked what was available, and I told him snacks and a cheese pizza. He rolled his eyes. Ugh, that barely even counts as vegetarian. Couldn't you have gotten some veggies for the top or even just a frozen veggie pizza? I'm vegetarian. My brother's vegetarian. Everyone else eats meat except Bud. I've cooked enchiladas, burgers, queso, you name it. One dish with meat and one without. Everyone gets equal with food and options, including my decision to half-ass host with frozen pizza. I wanted the two largest, and any half-ass host knows the biggest in the frozen section are normally cheese, pepperoni, and meat lovers, so cheese and pepperoni it is. And any vegetarian also knows that veggie pizzas are so small and expensive and not at all party friendly. And wouldn't you know it, not a single, this barely has meat on it. The grocery store is up the road. If the food I'm providing for free isn't enough for you, then we can wait till you get back. No, this is fine, it's just that it barely counts and is a cop-out, that's all. I already decided he was never to be invited back again, so anything he said really didn't matter, and I just insisted to enjoy the free food and went to the game room. I overheard another party member asking Bud, "What the hell?" And by the end of the night, he got into a handful of arguments. His final argument was with my brother. We took a break between games for some of the smokers to go outside, and Bud decided it was time to complain about how I can't take constructive criticism. He was just trying to help. My brother said he needed to get over himself and to stop looking a gift horse in the mouth. Suck it up and enjoy it or go. Bud chose to go. We had a pretty good game night, and the future ones will be even better. Don't be a choosing beggar at a party, y'all. It ain't cute. Thank you to everyone who watched this video. Be sure to subscribe for more daily Reddit content. Drop a like if you liked the video, and I will see you all tomorrow.